Hi friends, I'm Laura and welcome to my garden. Today I'm working on a very exciting project. It's a project that I've wanted to redo for over a year now, and that area is my front garden right in front of our house. This area had some big holly shrubs planted in it back when the house was built, like 25 years ago. And these holly bushes are ginormous now, and they're kind of edging out all of the other plants in the bed. When I originally planted this front garden bed a few years ago, it was late autumn and there was a very limited selection at the plant nursery for things that I could get. And so I just kind of chose what was there that I thought was acceptable, and that's what we filled that area with. And I love it compared to what was there before. What was there before were like boxwoods and monkey grass. Like, it just wasn't pretty. There was no color, there were no flowers. And so what we have now, I am excited about compared to what we used to have. But I've learned over the past couple of years that some of the things I planted just aren't appropriate in that space, or I don't love personally. And one of those things is Russian sage. It grows so big, it's totally outgrown its space, and it definitely needs to get replaced with something that is more appropriate for that area size-wise. Something that is not quite as invasive and shorter and easy to manage, won't flop over into the sidewalk when it gets too big. And then the other thing that I have in there that I don't love are some dwarf butterfly bushes. And I think butterfly bushes are pretty, usually, but this particular one that I have, I feel like the flower blooms look like male body parts, and I don't like that. So every time that flower comes into bloom, I'm always a little disappointed. Like, oh man, I wish you looked a little bit closer to like my hydrangea blooms, because I don't mind those like kind of conical shaped blooms, but for some reason this hydrangea bush, the growth habit and the bloom shape and size, it's just not for me. I don't love it. I could think of much prettier things to go up there. And then I also had a couple plants die over last winter. A couple of perennials, unfortunately, we lost some dianthus, and it's my favorite variety of dianthus, Georgia peach. And so there are a couple of spots that need to get filled in. In addition to that, everything that I bought 3 or 4 years ago when we planted that garden bed has grown to its like full size or its potential, because I picked up mostly smaller varieties, but they've gotten so big compared to what they were when I bought them. And so some of the things are just edging each other out. Like the hydrangeas are really competing with some of the other plants and kind of like taking over. And so I want more of a cottage garden style feel up there, and some different blooms, some different colors, and yeah, just some different shapes and heights and different. I love different. I'm not a person who usually believes in like, what is that called? Like astrology type of stuff. I love personality tests. I love the Enneagram. I love the Myers-Briggs. But I've never really vibed with my astrology sign until I recently read this past winter that Sagittariuses love change. And if they don't have change frequently, they will seek it out. And that could not be more true for me. Like, I love change. I always want to change stuff. Like, oh, maybe this space would look better with a new rug, or maybe we should move to a different state or a different country, or have a baby, or have a dog, or get a new kitten, or like maybe those flowers that have been growing there for 5 years should have different flowers now. Like, I love change, especially big change, but even small change makes me feel a little bit reinvigorated. So yeah, part of this change up in the front garden is definitely just because I love change, not because we actually need to do anything up there. I already have some plants that I've purchased to replace in that space. There is one thing I'm debating for this garden project, and that is whether or not to use annuals. I have fallen in love with annuals the past couple of years. When I first started gardening, I was very much all about perennial. Why would you spend money every year to replace your plants? I just loved a lot of things about perennials, but Lara from Garden Answer and a few others have really made me fall in love with annuals the last couple of years, and I've purchased more and more annuals every single year because I love it. I just love that their bloom cycle is so long. For a perennial like my Georgia peach dianthus, it's gonna bloom for like 3 months tops in early spring. And then as soon as we start getting any weather that gets close to the 80s or high 70s, it's goner. It's done for the rest of the season. It's just got the green foliage, but all the blooms die. And I wanted something that was just bigger impact, especially for my containers on the back porch. And that's how I started trying annuals, and of course being introduced to other gardeners who use annuals, and it's been a love affair. I'm like obsessed. I love that I can change things up in the garden every year and go for a different vibe. Like this one is whimsical and wispy and so feminine and airy. And let's see here. Look at how crazy this one's getting. That's a silverberry supertunia, and I love her. She's like the most gorgeous light pink color. So charming. Last year I had the Bordeaux supertunias, which are like this vibrant dark purple to light purple. I've also got some of the latte supertunias right here, which are so unusual. They are a really gorgeous beige and chocolate color. So I really love that. But it's so much different from the colors I did last year. I also this year, like I've got a moon garden going on here. See all those white flowers right there? And yeah, some alyssum back there, which I think might be able to be perennial in my area, but I've never gotten it to be yet. So I've really fallen in love with annuals because you can change out your colors every year and just have so much fun with it. But obviously they die and they don't come back, which means I'm gonna have new work to do every single May or June to replace those when we finally get out of freezing temperatures. So yeah, I'm not sure if I want to sign up for that, for all the work that would be involved with annuals, but I kind of love the idea of having blooms from say May to November or the end of October, which is not something I currently have with that front garden space with the perennials and all of the greenery bushes. So color would be really amazing, and long season color. So like all of summer, part of spring, part of autumn, that would be so cool. But the perennials don't really do that. Most of them have a shorter bloom time for like 3 or 4 months tops, and then they kind of wait until next season to put out flowers again. So for that front area, I kind of want high impact. So I'm considering using annuals, but I'm not quite sure yet. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I think I want to go to the garden center and just peruse, see what's available, see what's out there. Plus it's just a great way to spend some time in nature and surrounded by beautiful flowers and get inspiration. So I have nothing to lose by going to the garden center except money.
The first plant nursery that I went to is Deerness Gardens. This is in Huntersville, North Carolina. It's a short 15 minutes away from my house, and it's so pretty. One of my favorite things about this nursery is that it has a lot of landscaping inspiration. So they have a lot of in-ground garden beds and different examples that they show you on how they set up their plants. They also have a gorgeous pond on site and a whole tree nursery, a perennial nursery, and then tons of annuals to your heart's whims. They have a lot of lawn ornaments and other decorations as well, so I checked them out. Next on the list, I stopped at Pike's Nursery, and Pike I love because I feel like I can get a pretty decent price on perennials there. Sometimes they're a little pricey, but for the most part, it's a pretty great option. And all of the plants I've ever gotten from there have been in really great health. And I feel like that's one of the benefits of a larger nursery that specializes in just plants, is they really do take great care of their plants, as opposed to somewhere like Home Depot or Lowe's where a lot of times the houseplants will be dying. I just found a plant that I'm obsessed with and I want to show it to you. It is this coneflower, and look at that puffy top. Doesn't that look like a zinnia? It reminds me so much of the floret zinnias that she is specialty breeding that have like those puffy tufts on top. I am obsessed with it. I think she's so cute. She's a little pricey. They're $17 for each, and I want to get a couple, I think, because they're gorgeous and they're perennial, so that would be perfect for that bed. I definitely scooped up some of these and put them in my cart to bring home for landscaping the front garden beds. And then the very last place I visited today was Roundtree Nursery, and this used to have a location in Charlotte, North Carolina, but now it's about 40 minutes outside of Charlotte. Still a great drive. Fortunately, it's only 15 minutes from my best friend's house, and they have so many amazing, gorgeous plants that I don't find at other nurseries, like specialty hydrangeas, and they have an incredible price on some of their annuals that are grown at the nursery. So I picked up some fun things in addition to all the gorgeous plants I already had on my back porch that I had purchased. And I have an amazing selection now to get started making over this front garden bed. I get started with removing the plants that I know that I don't want, and I'm actually saving these to be transplanted at my best friend's house. She has a 10-acre property, which is so much space. So anytime I'm getting rid of plants at my house, I end up giving my perennials to her. So I take out the stuff that I know I'm not keeping, and then I'm also readjusting those hydrangea bushes and one of the privet bushes up front, giving them a little bit more equal spacing between them since they've grown in so much over the past couple of years and they're kind of crowding each other out. I wanted to give them all adequate space. And now I'm adding in all of those gorgeous perennials and annuals. I've got lavender, salvia, anise hippop, several different kinds of echinacea coneflowers. I've got some gorgeous annuals like calabrachoas and petunias. And I'm just having a great time getting all of this together. Unfortunately, you can see that as I'm working, the day gets hotter and hotter, and my hydrangeas end up wilting, and that does set them back for the next year, which is so sad. But I think it's going to be worth it in the long run to have even spacing up there between the plants. So if I ever do a project like this again, I know not to do this in June or July because it is simply far too hot here to be transplanting stuff at that time of the year. One of my favorite things that I did was I changed the orientation of the brick border, and instead of it laying flat with the concrete pavers leading to the driveway, I end up putting the bricks on their side, which creates this gorgeous higher border, and that holds all my mulch that I will put around my plants. I finished up the rest of this project off camera, and I'm so excited to show it to you in the future. As you can see, I'm already off to a fantastic start with so much more color and smaller sized plants than what was up there before. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see all of the creative projects that I get up to, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.